What if I told you that the ultimate distraction is already in the works? For decades, whispers of a false flag alien invasion, orchestrated by our own governments, have circulated. A carefully staged event designed not to uncover the truth, but to solidify control. The goal? To unite humanity under a fabricated threat while keeping us in the dark about the real agenda. These next clips come from the Michael Sandler Inspire Nation podcast, with Dr. Stephen Greer giving full disclosure on the upcoming event. The full video can be found in the description, and I highly recommend watching it. So, let's dive right in.
These corrupt enterprises are trying to gaslight Congress and the president and the public and the media, and create also the specter, this is the other part of this, of something frightening in the skies coming. See, this has been the plan since 1953 at least, that Werner von Braun warned us about. The man who invented the rocket for Adolf Hitler, on his deathbed, told a member of my team, Carol Rosin, that the plan was to eventually launch an alien threat or something from the skies that they could unite the world around some sort of authoritarian or militaristic totalitarian superstate. That is what they're doing. We're at the inflection point where that's all about to happen. And so they're trying to set up a lot of diversionary tactics as well as things that are frightening people, because they manipulate people through fear and people not knowing.
The signs are becoming harder to ignore. Recently declassified documents, mysterious spikes in UFO sightings, and the sudden mainstream media attention are pointing toward a narrative being carefully crafted. Disclosure might be closer than we think, not as a revelation of truth, but as a manipulation of belief. They want us looking at the sky when the real answers might be here on Earth. Let's connect the dots. The media's recent fascination with UFOs isn't random. Over the past few years, governments around the world have declassified reports of unidentified aerial phenomena. At first glance, it seems like a step towards transparency. But is it really? Some whistleblowers suggest these revelations are part of a larger agenda to lay down the groundwork for a staged event that will make us believe an alien invasion is imminent.
Government document from 1953 where the director of the CIA writes about the psychological warfare value of the UFO subject. So it was determined about a year before we mastered gravity control or anti-gravity technologies, when they would start building our man-made UFOs. Most of the ones that are UFOs are man-made, by the way, by Northrop Grumman and Raytheon and Lockheed. Small percentage are extraterrestrial vehicles. But the point I'm making is that plan was a 70-year plan to acculturate through Hollywood, the media, and particularly the UFO subculture and ufology and so-called ufologists that have been totally spoon-fed false information and a false narrative.
And this isn't just speculation. Look at Operation Northwoods, a real government plan from the 1960s that proposed false flag attacks to manipulate public opinion. The technology and psychological tools available today are drastically superior to what existed back then. Imagine holographic projections, electromagnetic pulse weapons, and deepfake videos creating a spectacle so convincing that even the most skeptical among us would believe it.
70 years of reverse engineering extraterrestrial vehicles and $8 to $10 trillion in black budget funding over the years studying it, they've come out with devices and machines that are almost indistinguishable from an actual extraterrestrial one. So those can also be, you look at these drones, you'll also see some of these weird, like almost living orbs and spheres that appear.
Yes.
Those are ours if it's handled badly.
Yeah.
So let's say this comes out and leaders around the world say, oh my God, there's an alien threat. We have to unite the world. And like the movie Independence Day, where Will Smith goes, let's kick alien butt, right? You know, the movie. I mean, it was right out of CIA scripting. But if that happens, it's the end of the world as we know it. It's a catastrophe. These are man-made events staging and pretending to be alien. So I think that is something that knowledge is power, and the masses, we're supposed to be living in a democracy, should have a voice in that in writing to people. Now, if it goes the other way, letter was a sample speech for world leaders to give.
Yeah.
And here's how that should go. Here's what right looks like. It should be announced that we're not alone in the universe, that they're not hostile, that there has been an intensive project for 75 years or more to study these objects that we have downed that are extraterrestrial, reverse engineer them, and we've had some amazing breakthroughs, some of which have to remain classified right now, but the basic energy systems that would run the planet, fix the biosphere, eliminate poverty, those we're going to work to bring out. And the other programs that have not been overseen properly, we're in the process of getting them under control.
This so-called alien threat would unite nations under a single authority, pushing for military expansion and surveillance at an unprecedented scale. But while we look to the skies in fear, the real power grab happens on the ground. The question is, are we ready to see through the illusion? Because the truth might not be about aliens at all. It's about control, distraction, and the human spirit's resilience in the face of deception. The closer we get to disclosure, the more important it becomes to ask, whose truth are we being shown, and why?
So then, if it goes in that direction, it's a golden age of human civilization, of free energy, no pollution, no poverty, and in the recommendation and executive orders for the president and others is that we start an initiative like our Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind initiative to make peaceful contact, but officially from the government, where instead of shooting at these objects and downing them with directional energy weapons and electromagnetic pulse weapons, which I've seen, we're doing it in the context of one universe, one people, that we're all conscious beings, that we need to have a rapprochement and reach out to these civilizations in peace and move us into a whole new chapter where eventually, not right away, because we're not quite yet civilized, that we can become interplanetary ourselves. So that's the vision that's very beautiful. So it could be, and what I've said is that there's 1,000 ways for this to go sideways and go wrong. There's basically one way it can go forward, where it's a hopeful event, where we create not world peace, but universal peace, that we bring all these technologies out, carefully evaluating their national security implications when it comes to some of the things that fly at, 1,000 times the speed of sound. You can't let every terrorist on the planet have that in their toolkit to deliver a dirty bomb to downtown Toronto. But my point here is, there are wonderful breakthroughs in science and technology and medicine that can be a peace dividend for all the trillions in secrecy that have gone on. How stark the choice is between a dystopian future of endless war and expanding war into space versus a whole new world, a new civilization that is beautiful.
The real question is, will this so-called Black Flag event pave the way for a utopian future? Or are we hurtling toward a militarized, authoritarian, one-world government? It's a chilling thought, but one worth considering. Do I believe that there is truth to it? Absolutely. History has shown us that governments have time and again entertained the idea of orchestrating false events to manipulate public perception. And when you factor in the existence of classified technology, innovations so advanced they seem almost outworldly, it's hard not to wonder what's really happening behind closed doors. As these events continue to unfold, I'll be watching closely. What do you think? Share your thoughts below and let's dive into this conversation together, and I'll see you next time.